about whose big button works better. I don't know if in the first term, just saying, and so while I understand none of us want them to have it, it doesn't mean that they're going to automatically, as soon as they get it, use it. And you guys don't have to take this, but for whatever it's worth, I'm not Shia Muslim either. They've actually, the current Ayatollah issued a fatwa on this, like using a nuclear weapon, and they view it as haram to ever use it or even to have one of these. That's not saying that they'll never try to make one, or that if they got one, if you push them too far, they wouldn't use it. But I'm trying to look at things objectively here and trying to gain the perspective of, yes, even the enemy, even the Iranian regime. And do I think that they would end their whole nation and generations of future Shia Muslims who could spread their ideology all over the world until the end of the world? No, I think they want to hold on to it just like every other dictator, just like every other Kim Jong-un in the world. They want to hold on to their power, and they want to continue their nation forever. And I think they both use it as a defensive weapon, a weapon to threaten other people in case they get invaded. But that's my
yeah. We see how the Shias of Adi, the mantle of Shia Islam, is really taken hold amongst the Iranian population's youth. They really are, really spreading the mantle of Islam far and wide. I mean, again, I wanted to say this: the idea that Iran's nuclear ambitions are somehow not North Korea is comparable. North Korea uses their weapons as a defense deterrent to protect the regime from collapse. Iran uses their nuclear weapons not just for protection, but to actually embolden its regional aggression. They don't use it in the same way. A nuclear armed Iran wouldn't just stand still. It would act with impunity. They use it as a nuclear ship. They built in Korea. At least those motherfuckers have enough sense to go build the nuclear centers in the mountainous, remote areas. These guys build their nuclear enrichment centers in one of the most busiest cities, metropolitan cities in the world. Tehran is the size of all of Israel. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Nuclear facilities in Tehran.
On the other side of the ski mound is
that Fargo or
no, Fargo is in the center of the country. There is a plant that builds the TNT that compresses the components together to set off the chain reaction. If you look at the huge fireball that was set off, it was that plant that was taken out. And they strategically put it on the other side of the mountain range because of that explosion that just occurred. But the analysis of North Korea is, I think, a bit off. In order for North Korea to, and they're yelling, "Oh, the big bad Satan," the United States. In order for them to threaten us, they would have to develop ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. They have not done anything like that. They can barely fire them over Japan. Should they have them? No. But do they represent a threat to the United States of America? Not yet. But trust me, if they did, and they actively started testing them and doing stuff, I think there'll be a very different response. Now, Iran, on the other hand, is a stone's throw from Israel. You can drive a truck with a small bomb in its back thing. You could shoot one over with those missiles that they have. They're not very accurate, but they got to get close enough. So the threat matrix is very different between Iran and Israel and North Korea and the U.S. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, there's some points there. I just, and by the way, I'm not coming from criticizing Israel for starting a fight with Iran, like military fight. Like, they can do that. Whatever. I'm not Israeli even. If they want to do that, it's up to them. But
not Israeli?
Yeah, I know, right? But the American aspect to me is what kind of makes me hesitate, because if we're just going to go in there and just do it, get in, get out, we'll do a couple strikes, take out some of their nuclear facilities, maybe you can sell me on that, but if you're telling me we're trying to resume change or we're going to get into a few year war or month long war, I'm good.
My best guess is that if we got involved, like a couple of sorties of B-2 bombers with those 30,000-pound bombs that were specifically designed to take out that facility. Literally, the 15-ton bombs, that's 30,000 pounds, can only be in the B-2. Israel doesn't have one of those. Designed for that facility, take it out. A couple of those, and then the nuclear ambition program is over. So no one's putting boots on the ground. I don't think anyone's signing up for that. But that's the only outcome that I see. And right now, who knows? Well, I still haven't given up the fact that I think that Israel could still pull it off internally by putting special forces in there and gaining access through the elevator shafts and everything and just blowing the stuff up with conventional explosives.
Well, geez, that takes a lot of setup work. I mean, have you ever through an elevator shaft?
Well, I haven't seen all of the flights of tanker aircraft going back and forth that refuel helicopters only. That are crisscrossing the skies of Syria. They're there for a reason. They're not to refuel F-35s. Well, I guess
I'm looking forward, to going to Tehran one day when there's not an Islamic extremist regime in control of the government and the society. I don't know. That's just me. I don't like Islamic extremism.
770 for a donation. Call me for a donation.
Modernized Tehran, basically Persia.
Iran still has lots of, not lots, it still has, under this regime, 50,000 Jews that still live there.
That's true.
And who are currently,
I think it was like 10, 15 now.
no, it's around 50,000 across the entire country. There's 10 to 15,000 just in Tehran. But those populations have shrunk, obviously, over time. So, again, I was just watching, this is anecdotal, but I was just watching Iran Air, like from a flight from the 1960s, and which was its first Tehran-Tel Aviv flight.
And that would be so corny and cute.
It is really corny and cute, but it existed, and everyone's these Persian, we are very happy to be here. But honestly, that could be us in the next 5 years. There could be a direct flight from Iran. Not even 5 years. In the next 2 years, there could be.
It's as easy as a light switch to turn Iran back to a sane place.
Well, it won't be the same place, but it can be a different place.
No,
it can be a better place.
It can be less Ayatollah. More.
It could be your.
There's videos on YouTube of sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I forgot my go ahead.
Just real quick, there's like videos of like random Westerners, like Americans, Brits, going to Iran and visiting and stuff and flying on their current airlines, and their current airliners, I guess because they're sanctioned to hell, they can't really, they're not really able to do the correct maintenance on all of them.
They're Russian aircraft.
Yeah, they're like just really shitty condition right now, but the vibe I saw of like people who traveled there and they do like their video vlogs or whatever is like the people are super nice. They've got, again, those sanctions, so like they have their fake version of like Pizza Hut, KFC and shit. But it really made me kind of want to go there before all this actually cramped off. But it looks so beautiful though. Like they still have a lot of the old like parts of the ancient Iran, I guess you would say. And there's a lot of cool like architecture.
Tehran is a super cool city. Tehran is a huge city. It's like, this isn't just some, bumfuck hole. It's like a huge metropolitan, it's the capital of the country. And so, it's just like a Denver because the city is placed like in, it's on the edge of it's a mountain range or whatever you call it. What is, whatever.
Like a mile high city.
It literally is a mountain range, but it's
right, but it's like also the pit. It's also
on a plateau.
It's on a plateau, exactly. And then there's, so people, you can ski, during like certain months, and then you can also like go down to the river and like float and like paddleboard and things like that. And I mean, of course, this is the home of ancient civilization. This is where Mordecai and Esther, they're shining Shushan, aka modern day Hamadan. Then you have Persepolis. You have a lot of things. It's a civilization and cities that, yes, are modern. There's not, they're modern cities. There's less modern areas. There's, poorer villages, more, better off villages. But I mean, yeah, like everything, people still find a way, Alcohol is illegal. Well, you go to your Armenian grocer deli and have, you have him smuggle you some alcohol for 5 times the price. I mean, yes, people still have a way to live their life, but it's not easy, and it's not what the Iranian people want, and that is the most important thing. So, again, people want them to be upset about it. They want them to be upset. Oh my God, they're more upset about the fucking IRGC, who's been oppressing them for all these years. So all these words you've been OD'd on. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm just saying that it's a complex, interesting country with lots of ethnic groups, lots of mosques, lots of ancient, Zoroastrian fire, Atashkad, I don't know what it is in English, and then you have some of the oldest Orthodox churches in these areas that are both Assyrian, and then you have Armenian churches. I mean, it's an interesting place to be. It's an interesting place to see, and it's really warm culture and very secular. And
how are Christians treated under Ayatollah, under the current IRGC?
Everybody has to follow the laws, like the civil laws. So everybody has to wear hijab. Everybody has to. Even if you're Christian, even if you're Zoroastrian, Christian, or Jewish, you still have to wear hijab when you're in public. Also, like there'll be special areas like where there's Assyrian camps, not like like Assyrian churches, and then they have summer camps in which the walls are high, and then so people can go. They don't have to wear hijab in those areas. But and yeah, there's very special allowances of Christian populations to have alcohol, and also for the Jewish population to have alcohol for religious purposes. And so I mean, it's all monitored. I mean, like in Iran, for example, I don't know how to explain it to you. Yes, like, I don't know why people act as if living under a theocratic Islamist regime, like somehow, oh my God, clap for them. They allow a Jewish representative and a Christian representative and a Zoroastrian. Look at all of this. Oh my God, amazing. I mean, how is that amazing? They're supposed to be there as figureheads and shut the fuck up and not say anything. Every time anything happens, the head rabbi of Iran needs to, shit on everything and anything that has to do with the Jewish people or Israel.
They're going to get taken hostage.
And Christians, well, no, I mean, tensions are so high that, I mean, there's war right now. So, I mean, who's to say what's going to happen? Right now, they already killed a doctor who they thought was a conspirator, or who allegedly had fed the Mossad information. So they're already executing people. We're in the middle of a fucking war. They're still... The morality plea, Daniel, did you see that? They're still picking up people for indecent hijab. Like, they're still trying to do that stuff.
If the war stops us from imposing our religious fundamentalist Islamic laws, the Zionists win.
I got a question for Roya on Tehran specifically. It's like, I know it's like the more modern big city, like has so much history, or rich, everything about it. It's beautiful, and I know a lot of the people there, they have like a mix, right? It's like the Iranian people, and then they have like the IRGC assets that are in and around Tehran as well. And with some of the statements coming from the Israeli defense minister and even Donald Trump saying price, or saying, like Trump said, everyone should evacuate Tehran now, with what happened in Baghdad, which was also a beautiful modern city at one point, like whatever, we like took that all out and just carpet bombed the fuck out of it, and I don't know how many hours, but just like brutal assault on that city.
Carpet bomb them?
Is there?
No, we didn't carpet bomb them.
I mean, whatever. It completely destroyed it, and with the rhetoric that's coming out right now, it seems like they're making similar threats.
That's not the way that IDF Farsi is speaking to the Iranian people. It's not the way that Iran International
One
is
sec, almost done. Almost done. I just want to like,
He's hurting my head with the bullshit, man.
who is this? I'm just asking a question. What are you?
That's not a question. That's a propaganda statement.
Half of the
Bro.
people left already.
I mean, go ahead, Jack. I get it. You
Just
think
trying to
that,
get this
they're
question
going to carpet bomb so the people should
No.
sit scared?
I'm not saying they're gonna carpet bomb. I'm saying, is there, with those statements that are literally saying everyone should evacuate and the residents will pay the price? These aren't, jokes, right? These are actual statements, even for people who don't give a fuck about the regime or want the regime to change. Will these statements, or if they actually do these actions, wouldn't it give more credence to not the regime, but to kind of like see the Israelis or Americans as enemies?
No,
Well,
because the reason the Iranian people, again, I don't really know how to explain it, have been pushed to the point of actual mania, in which where you oppress an animal, beat it, hit it, keep it captured, break its will for freedom, break every part of a human that makes it human, and cage it. The Iranian people are more upset about the fact when Iran, these ayatollahs, poke at the U.S., poke at Israel, and they know that these guys are godforsaken assholes, right, who do not even create bomb shelters for their own people. Go ahead and build their own nuclear enrichment centers near some of the most highly densely populated people. The Iranian people do not view the IRGC as some sort of kinship or some sort of protector of nationalism, or that they need that. In fact, they view the IRGC, they're angry. As more of these things happen, they get more and more upset about the fact that this regime has continuously put their people in this position. The fact that the Iranians will not stop. The fact that I'm not done. The fact that they will continue to poke, to probe, to threaten, all that does is put the Iranian people in more danger, and they understand. And by the way, that's not the overwhelming sentiment that's being shared amongst the actual Iranian people. IDF said, the IDF has a branch in Farsi, and so in their communications, because of high levels of both Iranians inside Iran, outside of Iran, relying heavily on that information. Also, there's a very large portion of Persian Jews that also follow the IDF and Israeli news in Farsi. So for older generations and stuff, so that already exists. And so A10 knows what I'm talking about. That's not the way that the messaging has spoken. Most people have listened to Bibi's statement about we are not at war with the people, we are at war with the IRGC, a brighter Iran. That's the 99.9% of the messaging. Trump can eat shit for turning around and scaring the shit out of the Iranian people, but that's not the narrative that the Israelis are sharing. That in fact, their precision is making people actually be very happy. And I know that's not something you want to hear, but it's actually the reality of it, because people are so worn down by the regime because it's comparing apples to a fucking elephant. It's not one and the same. They are happy. This is more of a liberation of Normandy type of energy than a foreign, sick, Zionist entity who's going to infringe upon the mantle of Shia Islam energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was actually saying how impressive and surgical the first Israeli strike on Iran was. The fact that they went after those scientists and chief of the IRGC. So I'm not even coming from that angle of demonization or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just coming at it
impressive?
from
Totally, I get it. I'm just saying that they have been precise, right? And so
yeah, and by the way, I'm not very aware of whatever propaganda the regime's spreading. I was just referring to, like, of course, they're still not going to fuck with the regime in any case, but, like, the specific statement about, like Trump, and also the one from the Israeli defense minister saying the residents of Tehran will pay the price. Now, you can read that as the IRGC guys who are in Tehran, who also live there, or the people. And I just I get weary when people start making statements like that, because to me, I think if anything happens, Tehran, aside from the IRGC assets, shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a method of. I don't support a method of destroying Tehran to accomplish.
We are in agreement, Jack. I'm just saying that for one defense minister who's may say something like that, you have the prime minister saying something that's the complete opposite. And so far, and I'm not saying people are not scared, that that type of messaging isn't scary, that Trump should have not opened his big fat mouth, but we all know the way that Trump actually talks, and we also know who's actually calling the shots right now. It's not the United States.
Show a little respect to your president, young lady.
We know that this is the Israelis, and again, I understand that's one out of 100 different messages that are coming from the Israeli side that are very clearly showing that we are trying to be precise, we are trying to protect, and that's the same news that the main news networks. You obviously can't trust the internal, news, right? Because they've been bombed, one, and two, they've just been infiltrated, but also the top Iranian news networks that Iranians inside of Iran watch that are outside of Iran are also, right now we have Babak Akhshanian, who's the main correspondent between Tel Aviv, Iranian reporter who's live and is reporting straight what the Israelis are giving to the press to report, and none of that messaging is remotely scary in a meaningful way that makes the people feel like they're public enemy number one. So I'm just saying, I get it. There was also something that one of the I guess parliamentarians had said that was warmongering, and then later on he came back and walked it back. Of course, people are going to say stuff in moments of war. Also, the mullahs and the Iranians are saying things in this moment as well. We're going to crush the Israelis and we're going to wipe out Israel off the face of the map. I mean, everybody is saying something, but that's not the overwhelming rhetoric that's coming out from the Israeli side to the Iranian people. That I can assure you.
Yeah, I hope it stays that way, because I feel like it would only do the bidding of the regime if they start going the other way. So, but anyway, I have a meeting I gotta prepare for. But it was nice talking to you guys. I appreciate it.
It was nice talking to you,
the conversation.
Yeah, it's nice talking to you.
Take care.
Okay, I'm tired. You guys do this every day?
No, not every day.
Not every day.
I never did. Jesus Christ. God.
It is exhausting sometimes, especially when you have people fighting you in the rooms. It's horrible. But I know that yesterday we had more like a more philosophical type of room, but it was cool. Like we have not allowed too many retards on the stage these past couple of days, and it's been different. It's been more relaxed.
I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of the people that I know are right now up in the north in their 1960s retro villas partying right now. I know that's not everybody. I get it, but there's people are excited and scared at the same time, and so nothing at this point is going to make people revert back to the regime who has killed its people more than anybody else, more than any sort of disease, more than any sort of foreign entity. I mean, the biggest threat to these people has been the regime itself, and that's undeniable. Undeniable. That's not something that only one part of Iranian society knows. Every single person has been touched by this regime, and not in a good way.
I would say the same thing about the American government.
Anyway, Can we bring back this Irish anti-Semite? I'm actually in the mood now. I have no energy.
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, yes. What is wrong with their Irish? They really hate Jews.
He lives in an actual state.
Northern Ireland problem, and I don't know if they have to be simplistic about it, but they just say, it's the fucking Brits again.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, I think you can make the argument that everything you're saying about Iran, you could say the same thing about the United States. I mean, war is erratic, but it's political. So essentially, it's all propaganda. And if I wanted to say that the American government is the biggest enemy of the American people, a lot of people agree with that statement. Same thing, like you just.
You would actually you would have to provide quantitative, qualitative, and empirical evidence, and we would have to see where it weighs against human rights violations. I mean, for example, do we have gender apartheid in the United States of America by law? Do we have religious Sharia law written into our laws as like outwardly involved? Are we going to listen, America, whether you wanna completely break down its institutions or question them, that's one thing. But to sit here and pretend that you are living with all of its motherfucking flaws, to compare the United States to an autocratic, theocratic dictatorship and say that your rights are equal to the ones living under the IRGC, it's one, delusional, two, wrong, and also three, reductive and dismissive.
Your opinion and it's reductive.
No, it's not my opinion. Maybe you should go take your medication. I don't know if it's like an elephant tranquilizer.
Or something. I don't know.
No, it's not my opinion. It's a lived reality. In America, shut up. You have a free market here. You have the ability to participate. You have the ability to vote to a certain extent. Right now, if you're so worried about the system, you have the Senate, you have the executive branch, and you have the motherfucking judiciary. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm just saying that I could flip it and it totally.
Yeah, well, how do you not be a complete dickhead and play devil's whatever?
Make that claim that governments are the enemies of the people. I mean, that can be applied to every state around the world, but there are also degrees, right? And the United States is today the last bastion of freedom that there is in the world. Like, they respect individual rights. Yeah, I think they
We have to work.
How about you live in Iran right now?
And I don't think that any government is perfect, obviously. Also, I mean, like, if you want to go deep into it, I mean, tax is theft, right? So that is disrespect of individual rights. But in all, I mean, like, people can express themselves. There is respect for people's beliefs. There is respect for freedom of speech. There is respect for bearing arms, etc., etc. None of these rights are being held in Iran, right? I mean, the people are being completely oppressed, and they're being killed in the streets like rats. Sometimes when they offend the government or they break Sharia law.
You don't even need to compare to extremes. You could say, go live under Maduro for a day. Go live under
I was thinking of Venezuela when you were talking.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the animals being broken and put in cages and whatever. I was
Let me ask you a question. I want to challenge with a question. So, not comparing United States to Iran at all, without the sea, but if, for example, a government like the United States, not a government, like a country like the United States, decides, for example, as you said, the right to bear arms, which is amazing. It sounds like a right, but at the end, it's also resolved in mass shootings and school shootings. So at the end, it's a government decision that others might say, I don't like it. Like, it's a balance at the end. Like, one freedom sometimes comes on another. Like, so here people die by the government, and here the government allows for people to kill each other. But at the end,
but it's not legal arms that are killing other people. It's actually arms that have been gotten in the dark market. So whenever when you see a school shooting, is a legal arm.
Why do we see it mostly in the United States? There are legal arms everywhere in the world.
Oh yeah, but obviously you see more because there are more guns. But it's not the guns. It's not the existence of guns that's creating this. It's the existence of crazy people. Look at the UK. they don't have guns anymore, but they're stabbing each other. So the problem is there's sick people.
Is 40% of
I mean,
the
people are always
economy?
going to find a way of killing each other.
Yeah, people in US shot Trump by
40% of the U.S.
Look,
economy
for
is based
example,
on power.
hold on, Switzerland is the third country in the world with more guns per capita, only after Yemen and the US. And so, do you see a lot of shootings here? No, right? Why? If we have a lot of guns per capita, it's because people
You
are
also
not
have the
crazy.
highest.
There are rules in place, and people are educated, and people are not crazy.
I
They're
think
not
it's
enough
good
for
Also
the
have a
rest.
strict immigration policy.
I think they're bored.
That also.
We're keeping the peace in Switzerland.
Yeah, that's also true.
What do I have to do to become a Swiss citizen? I feel like it's a long,
Just
pricey.
climb the tallest mountain and make yourself neutral.
Can I not just go skinny dipping in like Lucerne? Is that not gonna give me citizenship?
I just love how their cultural identity is you can't conquer us. Nah, 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 nah.
You can
I love how they're like, we
you
don't
can
have
come
much.
here on a visa first and get a job, and then you have to live for 10 years and here, learn German or French or wherever you are and one side you choose. And you have
Lisa,
to
are you
live.
on the Swiss German side or are you in
I'm in German side,
the German side?
and
Reading
you
so
have
heavy.
to
Wunderbar.
live in the same canton and in the same district, for those 10 years, so that you can demonstrate that you are adapting,
You also have to
incorporating
establish
yourself.
neutrality by not starting wars with any nearby states.
Yeah. They will ask all your neighbors and people that know you about you to see how well have you integrated.
I don't think that I think I have a nuclear personality, just to keep it on topic, but yeah, I don't know if I will assimilate that well
Yeah.
in Swiss culture. No, but I'm just saying it looks amazing. I've always wanted to go, so
Oh,
Yeah.
come, you can
Yeah.
visit me.
I will come visit you. Yeah, show me around.
I'll be in Italy this summer, Issa.
You're always in it.
Oh yeah, you said. When is it that you're coming to?
Mostly month of July and the last week of July. Sorry, July 22 to August 22.
Nice. With the kids?
With the kids.
I can't believe you're taking your entire tribe to Italy.
Are you flying into Milan?
We've been to Italy before, but not this part. Should be fun.
Are you flying into Milan? Or where are you flying?
I think we're flying into Milan, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me know a little
You
bit
want to try and
your
say hi
schedule.
before we head down to the south for the summer?
That would be great. Or on your way back.
Yeah, good point.
Because my mom is arriving in Switzerland on the 21st.
Oh, wow.
And
Mazel tov.
yeah, so she'll spend here a few weeks as well.
That's
Are
wonderful
you
news.
from Guatemala, Spain? Where's your mother from?
She's from Spain, but she lives in Guatemala.
Oh, so your mom is a Spaniard, and then your dad is Guatemalan.
Yes.
Did they meet in Spain
In
or?
Guatemala.
Oh,
No,
cool.
in Guatemala because my mom's family immigrated during the Depression after the Civil War. And then they went to Mexico and then from Mexico to Guatemala. And then they grew up there and ended up marrying Guatemalans. And just my auntie, she went back to Spain when she was like 16 or 17 to study. And she stayed in Spain, and so she married in Spain. And my cousins from that auntie, they are Spanish. But all the family of my mom is in Spain.
That's
So she'll come here.
yeah. Oh, and go to Spain.
She'll come here for a few weeks, and then she'll spend like 3 or 4 months in Spain with my
That's
auntie.
good. That's so good that at least you have an aunt on the same continent, close to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's just like my second mom.
Perfect. So I assume that you head down to Spain every couple, whenever you can for fun or.
Yeah, I haven't seen her like in 2 years, to be
But
honest.
still, 2 years, better than 10 years,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why are you breathing so heavy?
The switch, because she's
Because
on
I'm
the
walking
mountains.
up a
She
hill.
can't be bothered to let their mountains down to the lower people.
I went out for a walk in the mountain. It's too
Are you
hot.
working out, Issa?
I told you I do. I just don't tell it in Clubhouse, honey.
She works in sports. She can't be ugly and fat. She has to be hot and fit. That's
Yeah, I'm a bit fat, but
No, you're not. Shut up. What did I want to say? Oh fuck. So if I walk around this area, I want to go to Lucerne. I want to go to Zurich. I want to go to all these places. I just want to be where the cows are. Just
Oh, yeah,
where
they're
the cows
everywhere.
are.
I'll get some
Yeah.
good fresh
they're everywhere. Actually, here where I go, I always go for long walks in the mountain, but it's behind my apartment. My building is like facing the city, like a big road. But then if I walk 10 minutes to the back, I hit a hill, which is where I am right now. And I just go for walks there. There's a farm, and you get to pet the cows and the chickens and play with them. I get raw milk over there.
You guys, I like Adam. I think Adam isn't bad. Like, I'm not gonna say I like him, but.
Which
Oh, sorry. Is his name not Adam? The Jack guy. He's not in bad faith. I'm not usually in the discussion. I don't know them that well, but his voice sounds familiar. The one that had like the that one sounded like Mike. Was that Mike? The gay Mike or no?
I don't think so. But I did like this Jack. His voice also sounds familiar. And it was very pleasant to speak to him.
Algerian, Palestinian, half Algerian, half Palestinian. I mean, Algerians are the most Islamist out of all of the North Africans. Not that he's an Islamist. Yeah, I mean, in comparison to Moroccans and Tunisians, their population is relatively more secular, less, Islamic, in comparison. They have a lot more, they have a lot now in recent years, in the last 10 years, there's a lot more secularization and also support for indigeneity and returning back to non-Arab identity. But Algeria, I mean, they also have an Islamist government in place, so... I mean, a lot of people are tied to the military apparatus there. But yeah.
Are you proud of this moment? Are you feeling proud right now?
I've never been proud.
Are you excited about the future of Persia? Is the excitement in the air? I'm only asking because I just think this is an amazing time of our lives right now. It really is.
I think so.
We're at the cusp of something absolute.
Oh shit! Am I mute? I was about to say, of course. This is the liberation of Normandy on a way bigger scale. This is an amazing thing that's happening. This is the Western civilizations, the basic markers of human rights being stood up for in a meaningful way for the first time ever. Thank you, Bibi. The people that I know, all of them, they're scared, right? They don't want to die. They're scared of war. Who likes war? Point blank.
It's normal, yeah.
Yeah, but what Israelis like war? Do you think people like going into bomb shelters? Do you think that people like when they have to evacuate their home? I mean, do they like it when Iran threatens their life? No, but yet still the people are united together. I mean, I feel so proud of this moment. I feel so proud of this moment.
It's amazing that the Israelis have put up with it for so long, but now the time has come for the world to be reshaped.
Yes.
It's fucking unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
I'm just going to say so many Iranian Americans ended up voting for Trump this time because a lot of them, which by the way, like that's, not very usual, but after kind of it's like, dude, I mean, Biden, who was about to hand them billions of fucking dollars, okay, was just about to hand them money. Thank God it froze. Thank God they froze the big transfer.
As I've always said, peace be upon him. Peace be upon him, Donald Trump.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't support Donald Trump in a lot of ways, but at the same time, even a broken clock can be right twice a day, right? So, I mean, whether it was the Abraham Accords, whether it's we should, I mean, we'll do whatever America should do whatever Israel wants America to do. They're not the ones calling the shots, and unfortunately, Donald Trump is not going to be the one that's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize or take the recognition.
Why not? Obama won it.
Well, yeah,
Not change, lies, and fraud.
Take your medication and then try to participate.
Stop projecting your lack of medication on.
Anyway,
Come on, John. You can.
Come on, Josh. You said you were telling me to take my medication.
I know, but I'm just saying. Don't.
I mean, we're all acting crazy.
It was a friendly reminder, John. It was just a friendly reminder.
Exactly.
Daniel said.
Just don't be an obstacle.
Oh, it's friendly. Okay, got it.
And you're a very
First
pleasant
time in
person.
a few days. First time in a few days, I hear a voice of absolute passion like I haven't heard before. Roy,
Thank you.
you are an inspiration to our clubhouse.
He is an inspiration. I
community
love him.
in such a way that I cannot wait for the day I can step foot on Isfahan soil and Tehran soil and go. I feel almost like I'm home, but I'm not home.
We'll be going to Shushan together by 2027. That's the goal. We're gonna do a tour, then we're gonna go to the south of Tehran, and we're gonna go visit the King Daniel's shrine. We're gonna do all of those things together.
Is there going to be anything left?
Maybe Shushan should be the new capital.
Maybe it should.
There's nothing in Gaza anymore, so why do you think there's going to be anything left in Iran?
Do you know, when I was a young kid, my father always used to buy Persian carpets. And it wasn't until I was about 10 or 11 years old where I looked at these carpets and I thought, wow, these are just pieces of beauty and magnifique.
I'm standing on one right now. Actually, one of the things that is crazy that probably the Iranian, whoever comes into power afterwards, one of the top priorities. Well, this is right before the revolution, the Israelis and the Iranians were working on the technology around desalination. Like, put all of the political stuff to the side. Like, the region, there's an ecological crisis happening across the Middle East, and we really need to be focusing on that. And, the Israelis were helping the Iranians with a multi-million-dollar desalination project because Iran suffers from a water crisis. So that's actually the next thing. There needs to be an exchange of science. There needs to be exchange of agri-tech and all of these things. And also there's a lot of successful Iranian Jews in America, all across the globe, tech moguls, the guy who owns eBay, the guy who, I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but, they're wanting to invest, and I'm just saying, like, who knows, maybe, I don't know what's happening with Elon Musk, but, who knows what the future could hold. I mean, we could have a brighter, more progressive, less Islamist, more secular, more open, more modern region where people are allies and everyone makes each other richer. That would be so much better, right? If we could all just help each other make more
An
money.
extension of the Gulf.
Yes, let's make money. Let's not be poor. Oh, yeah. Like, no, who wants that? And I want them
You want to
to
talk about the Jews?
Yeah, everybody become everyone can learn to be more money savvy. Honestly, there's no problem with that.
Oh, I heard a joke this morning. It was something like, why the Jews make good at football?
Since when?
Because it says because they always get quarterback.
I read an amazing piece this morning from Imam Hassan Dogumi from Paris.
Yes, I read that too.
It was such a nice read.
Somebody shared it the other day, or I don't know. But it was not too long, right?
So they made a good point, though, that I keep calling him Adam, whatever, Jack. Batat also needs to kind of be, Batat is also dangerous, They're not a good faith player, but again, all of these guys, there's levels to this shit, you know what I'm saying? I just really don't like when they take away that, everybody is bad, everybody has corruption. No, not everybody hangs gays on the noose of, at the time of
Yeah, they're not equal. Yeah,
they're not equal. What are these? It's but they do that to reduce it.
Qatar likes money, they like business, and this is what Trump is like. He's getting them into a business partnership. So when you have got a business partnership, that becomes stronger than just diplomatic relationships just for the sake of getting along. Then you put some interest, you put some meat on the bone, It's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's make the risk worth billions or trillions, so none of us is gonna mess up with it.
The funniest tweet that I saw, and I'll just say this one, the funniest tweet that I saw was the Iranians said that they hit like Mossad's headquarters, I don't know where, and then it's okay, we're all in Tehran. Did you guys see that? It was really funny. It was like, it's okay, we're all in Tehran right now.
The other one that was really good was when Trump got a call from Putin, and Putin said, "I'll be the peacemaker between Iran and Israel." And Trump turned around and said, "No, you deal with Ukraine."
Good.
You just deal with Ukraine.
Is that him saying that, figure out the Ukraine situation sooner rather than later? That would be nice. Someone saying something to this motherfucker.
Absolutely. As I say, peace be upon him, Donald Trump. He will be remembered in history. He will be the next prophet in those biblical books. Guaranteed.
The Iranians love Trump. They love Bibi. They've loved Bibi for a while, but especially after when he hosted the Crown Prince in April of 2023, and then he did all of this cultural stuff, Persian Jewish unity kind of stuff. People have been kind of obsessed, and now people are just that's the Bibi dar nakone, meaning may Bibi's hand not hurt from the slap he just slapped across the face of these guys. And he's right. Fuck them. I hope they choke on some donkey dick and die, honestly.
But you know that these Iranians now want to go to the White House because they're so shit scared at the moment. They don't know what the fuck's going to go on. They want to do a deal now. When it comes to the White House.
A little too late. Fuck you guys and fuck your deals. You're about to die. Get ready. And I just want to clarify, I'm talking about the Iranian IRGC for anyone in the audience. But too bad. No more deals. No deals. Where deals? What deals? No more deal. What deal could come out of it right now, Pikachu? What deal?
This is what he said. Hold on. Yeah.
I just received a letter in my mailbox from 23andMe saying that they filed for bankruptcy in the U.S.
Yeah, don't do it. They had a huge data leak. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No, you already did.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, man.
It says you may have claims against the debtors, including for monetary loss or personal injury. Any holder of the claim that fails to timely file a proof of claim in the appropriate form shall not be treated as a creditor with respect to such. Yeah, they sent me a legal notice to tell me, I guess, my rights about if I have got any claims or anything.
Do you?
No. I did my 23andMe. That's the reason why they have my address.
Oh, did you find out you're Jewish?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, Mazel Tov.
4% Ashkenazi.
That's definitely from the Spanish Inquisition side, yeah. I'm
tired for them.
Daniel, this time don't stare the Irish guy if he comes in here. I want to play next time.
No, he was kicked out.
Oh, forever?
And yeah, from the room.
But next time there's a room, I do want to come in here when he's in here.
Are you gonna
It's like a high stress situation, and all of us want to shit on somebody, and he's the perfect specimen to shit on personally.
Which Irish guy? Which one? What's his name?
Some
Rambleton?
Oh, he's a fucking piece of shit, that one.
he doesn't even hide his anti-Semitism at all. It's not even close. Yeah, he's just straight up, fuck the Jews type of energy.
The other one is Rickson. Rickson, the American. He's also another one.
Who's that?
Fuck the whites. Fuck the whites. Fuck the Jews. Hates the whites. Hates the
Oh, he's black? Oh, well, black people don't like Jews or white people sometimes. Everything in black culture in America is the Jews' fault, apparently. Everything from Motown. Oh, these Jewish music executives were shoving drugs
What
down
about
throats of...
what about the liberation?
No. Only oppression.
Yeah, so the Jews are at fault for communism, they're at fault for feminism, they're at fault for they control the media, they control banks, they control
The gays, yes.
France.
And they are the ones pushing immigration. I mean, a Jew even stole my house. The makeover is great again. So I tend to agree with this guy.
I mean, there's so much evidence, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Piling up.
Yeah, Jews are at fault for every single thing. And that is what I say to him, like, yeah, I believe you, dude. Like, the Jews control your brain. I agree with you. I think they absolutely control his brain. God, only invoices. I receive. When am I going to receive a check?
Yeah, same thing for me. I never get, nobody sends me money. Nobody ever, here's this.
This is the reason why I have to convert to Judaism. So I start receiving the
It
checks.
doesn't work that way, I promise you. It's a scam. They never come. Anyway, this room was really fun and very good faith for the most part. So thanks for having me. I gotta bounce, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Lovely. How are you? Why I speak to you? I'm always afraid when I receive posts, I'm always thinking like, what issues do I have to deal with now?
Yeah, it's never. It became just like tasks. It's never like something good or like a letter from someone or.
Exactly, and all the letters that hit my mailbox are from the government.
Yeah,
It's like migration or taxes or I don't know, a court. I got in trouble last week. I didn't know this. So I have the insurance company, and apparently there was a payment I missed from April of last year, over a year. And so they sent me the kind of like, well, I didn't pay, but I didn't know that I didn't pay it. So they sent me the bill through the how do you say, the city hall, right? And so the city hall sends you a letter, right? Like saying, yeah, well, you need to come and pay or we're going to send the police. And so I went there and I got the bill, and then I spoke with the insurance company, and they were like, yeah, well, you need to pay before, I don't know, January or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so I paid some bills. And I paid, I think, like 3 invoices in advance, just like to be sure. Just like, okay, I'm gonna pay like 3 in advance because you receive like 5 at a time, and then you just start clicking on them. And so I paid like 3 invoices in advance, and I was like, okay, this has been done, So last week I need to, well, I am processing right now my permanent residence, and they asked me for like a printout of the record of debts, right, that I have, like my credit score or something. And I went to the town hall, to the city hall to get it. And there was this ship still open from the insurance. And I'm like, no, I already paid that. Anyway, so insurance company, and I'm like, okay, tell me I'm going to pay it right now on the phone so that I can make sure that it goes to the right invoice, right? And so they're like, oh no, sorry, this is not with us anymore. We sent it to the court. I'm like, what? So I received, they sued me for 250 euros, for 250 francs. They sued me, and so I had to go to the court, and I had to take them proof that I had already paid the bill and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, here it is. And they're like, okay, so I had to pay, so the original bill was 250 francs. With the interest and everything, I had to pay 470 francs. And then the court, because of all the processing, they charged me another 200 francs. So a fucking invoice that it was just a misunderstanding of 250 francs became 670 francs.
Well, this is how you learn.
Oh my god. Yeah, and now I just went to
You took a course. You took a course at how to be a citizen or civil resident, legal resident, or you pay your debts on time. And if you don't, we will fuck you up.
I know.
Unconditional surrender. This is what we want.
This was embarrassing, right? Because why do I have to go to court?
What country do you live in, Asa?
In Switzerland.
Okay. Yeah, don't fuck with the Swiss.
Yeah, exactly. And they took me to court for 250. And so now that I went to open the post, and I'm receiving, the letter of the court that I never got it on time because I found out by coincidence. The letter never even hit my thing, but I found it by coincidence that I have to go to court. But still, I have to pay so much money, 670 francs, just because I didn't pay a 250 invoice that was not even. It was an accident. And the stupid thing is that it's from April of last year, and it's my monthly payment of the health insurance here in Switzerland, and they kept on charging me for May and June and July and August and September and all the way to right now, and they didn't pay that invoice. They didn't allocate any of that money to the old invoice, which would have been the easiest thing. And instead I just skipped one payment accidentally, and it became a huge issue. It was ridiculous.
Damn.
But yeah,
that's a lot of trauma for 200. That's fucking great.
Oh yeah. And they can send you even for less than that.
Is it one of those countries where they do if you get a traffic ticket, they charge you based on your income or not?
No.
Okay.
No, but it was accumulating, because I had it there for a year, and I didn't even know. Because they sent me a notice. My insurance company. My health insurance. I skipped 1 month, and I didn't know. And so they sent some notice to me, and I went to the city hall, and I got the bill, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay. And so I called the insurance company, and they said, well, anyway, I just. Why are you leaving, Daniel?
I want to listen to something.
Oh, but you'll be back.
Yeah, I just wanted to soon.
But where are you from, Isa?
Originally from Guatemala.
Okay. I was wondering. I heard a South American twang.
Yeah, my accent is indeed sort of South American or Latin American. But it's a little bit weirder, I think, than just plain Latin American. It's very fucked up, my accent. I have picked up stuff from everywhere.
Guatemala.
Yeah, Guatemala. Is Eitan still there?
Eitan, are you there? No, probably not.
Everyone was saying how pleasant it was to speak with you today, even though you are It gets.
Terrorists.
I mean, like the opposite.
Just kidding. It was nice speaking to you guys too. I enjoy conversations where we can like have serious discussions and shit, you know, instead of
Yeah.
like just cussing people out.
Do you go to Amir's room?
I'm banned and suspended from ever going to his room. So
Why?
he's blocked me.
Why?
Because
What did you do?
he has a narrative and a script he reads off, and if you're a Palestinian and you don't agree with the bullshit he says, or you want to explain him certain things he wouldn't know because he doesn't live in that society, he will flip out and he holds a grudge. I told him I liked Saudi Arabia and that I said very nice things about Saudi Arabia. He didn't like that, and he called me a Zionist and a kafir or some shit. I'm like, and then I trolled him for like a month, but anyways, he kicked me out because I correct him on his bullshit.
Yeah, I think that they say a lot of propaganda, and I know that I might be biased because I am on the Israeli side, you know, but I think that they spill a lot of bullshit there, and they are not thinkers. They just want to fight. They just want to yell. It's just so annoying.
Yeah, they do the most low hanging fruit conversations, and it's just like the most childish bullshit. And so, like, to me, when I would go in those rooms when I was allowed to, I got the vibe that if you came in and didn't know anything about this topic, you would leave a hardened Zionist. Because the shit he says is so ridiculous, and the way he treats people is just retarded. So
yeah, he has never treated me badly, but I don't really go there. I have been there like 2 times or so.
Okay, yeah. If you're a Zionist, you probably love that room. It's just like a joke. It's so stupid.
No, I mean, like I tell to the guys, to the Jews, like I don't consider myself a Zionist. Like, Zionism is an ideology, right? And I support Israel, at least in this conflict. I believe that they are on the right side, you know, and I support civilization. I think that there is so much to point fingers at Hamas, you know, and the Gazans themselves, I see them both as victims and perpetrators. But I think I am of the idea that they have become perpetrators not because of their own fault, let's say, but because they have been manipulated and indoctrinated and intoxicated a lot by Hamas. You know, I think that they could have the potential of being good people, but they truly see Israel as their enemy. You know, and they will try to get rid of them for as long as they live. And it's a mentality that unless you have an epiphany, like a miraculous epiphany one day, they're never going to wake up from that realization, and they will never see a way of having a peaceful relationship or whatever. But that doesn't mean that, I mean, like, I don't even know how to take this, how do you say, the label, you know, Zionism. But I don't stand with Israel no matter what. Like, whenever they do something or will do something that I don't agree with, I will critique it, you know, and I am not, it's not part of my ideology. I don't subscribe to that ideology, you know, so.
Yeah, I never understand when people say, like, to any country, I have unconditional support. Like, really? They could, like, do anything and you have no conditions to your support? Like, hello? But I have a lot of criticism for Hamas, too. As a Palestinian, I feel like in a lot of ways their actions do the bidding of against the progress of the Palestinian people, I'll say. But I think also that Netanyahu found it a very convenient place for Hamas to be was Gaza, so he didn't have a problem with them being there until obviously October 7th. But I don't like the way he handled the war either. I thought and I know actually how surgical Israel can be, and I just I don't like the fact that fucking Gaza looks like an empty desert today. Just
Yeah, but you also need to. I mean, if you were the idea and you want to go only after terrorists, right? But then you have terrorists that are identifiable as terrorists, but then there are civilians that are terrorists as well, that are militants, right? But that don't dress as terrorists or don't act as terrorists, right? But they're still there out to kill you. So it's a very difficult situation to fight with Gaza. You know, I think it's one of the most difficult battles that any country has ever had. On top of that, you know these things, that Hamas stores weapons in civilian buildings, you know, like schools and hospitals, and even under cradles of babies and stuff in their own homes. And the reason why they do that, I mean, is strategic. Like, I understand it, you know, like, I would, if I were them, probably I would have had the same train of thought, right? And it's like, okay, we are going, because we know the principles or the morality, or even not, even if you want to say that the IDF is immoral and they just do it because of international pressure. But you know that they have to abide by certain rules, right? And they are not going to bomb a school, or at least will think about it, or at least will think 10 times or strategize 10 times before they actually go for that school.
Hold on.
Right?
As a teacher, school has not been in session since this war began. Like, no one's no one's at school. Let's be clear.
No, there's people, they're using schools as shelters right now.
I understand, but the
And so
building.
my point is that when you see this from like an Israeli perspective or an IDF perspective, they put you in an impossible position when they have weapons in schools or churches or whatever, and you need to get rid of these weapons, but you're also told that you cannot destroy these buildings. And so it is done all on purpose, right? It's like trucks to your enemy, and it's just strategic, right? It's tactics.
But
So
here's
we
my
talk
problem.
about the destruction, just very briefly. When we talk about the destruction of Gaza, we need to take these things into consideration. And the last thing is about the deaths. When I was looking at the deaths reported by the UN, which comes from the Gaza or the Hamas or whatever government, and you see the breakdown, you see that are reported, let's say, to make just round numbers, let's say it's 40,000, right? So you see 20,000 are categorized as terrorists, and then 20,000 as civilians. And the 20,000 of civilians appear to be, for example, 80% are women and children, right? And so when you're like, oh my God, when they're killing civilians, they're almost exclusively killing women and children. But then this gets to people, but what they don't tell them is like, the reason why it's 80% women and children is because there are barely any men in the civilian side. Because men are usually militants of Hamas. So all these nuances, you know, serve the narrative very well because they are not told to the people, and people are not used to rationalize these things.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think with that last point about the men, with the fact that I think Gaza is like 2 million people, and it's like half men, half women, and so let's say there's like 1 million men, but even the IDF's intel, as far as the last time I read, was they believe there's still about 40,000 Hamas members. That was the number at the start of the war. So I don't think it's safe to say like most of the men are Hamas or part of Hamas are fighting. I think it's like a very, very small minority, but regardless of whether it's Netanyahu or Israel's breaking any war crimes or not, I just think, just purely off of the aerial photos alone, honestly, I'm not okay with that at all. I thought that, you know, at pretty much every build, like there's entire neighborhoods, entire cities that just got destroyed, so I'm not a fan of that. And I feel the same way about Tehran. I don't think that should happen either. Like, I don't think they should go and make it like Gaza, because that's when you start losing support from people. In my eyes, like when you start going and taking out like entire neighborhoods or towns or something, that's not good. Even if there's no one there, you know, like
It will not happen in Tehran. It's not happening. It will not happen in Tehran. No, it's not that it's. I agree. I'm trying to say there is a reason why this is happening in Gaza, and it's part of the warfare that Gaza is doing. That they are using like the buildings. Like I don't think that you understand how many IEDs, like explosive devices, that are like planted like all over the Gaza Strip. Like almost every second house has some kind of like remote detonation or some touch detonation or whatever. This is why there are also like casualties from the IDF. It's all of them are in those explosives, like explosives. They also put like explosives in walls, for example. So in order, sometimes it's easier to just destroy a house than to just not risk soldiers to look for explosives in walls. And also, those explosives don't necessarily know who touches them. When you see like people without limbs, it's probably not like an airstrike. Like it could be, but could have stepped on something or picked up something.
No, I hear you, and I know the IDF will do whatever it takes to protect their soldiers, and there's guerrilla warfare going on. I'm just not comfortable at all with the level of destruction in Gaza. I think that's created, and honestly, even if I was pro-Israel, I wouldn't be comfortable with it because
no one's comfortable with it, but it's just necessary and
long run. Like I'm telling you, like real quick, just to land it, Daniel. Like the generations of like kids who are growing up watching all this shit, that creates even more animosity and hostility towards Israel. I mean, to levels where it's very.
You need to understand, Jack. We hear a lot about this image thing, and you need to understand that is not our first priority. And our first priority is safety, security, morality, humanity, before like how it looks. And yes, there's a lot of misinformation. A lot is like an understatement. And with time, people will see and facts will come out and they will understand, or like not understand, they will understand who to blame. They will understand the context, why this has happened. And looking at Gaza like this, I saw images of Gaza before, like, yes, a lot of like beautiful, iconic places, but it's not us that made it into a terror base. It's not us that put those IEDs. Even if we stop today, okay, do you think that anyone could go and save those buildings? Like take all those explosives? Like take out all the explosives?
Well, I've seen cases where
how much
Daniel. I've seen a case.
How much explosive is there in Gaza that didn't explode? That just this effort to remove all the explosives, even from like our bombing, like things like nuts that didn't explode.
You literally have to get rid of almost every structure if you're selling me on that mentality, because I've seen examples of the IDF taking over a building or a certain section of a neighborhood, and then when they're done with it, they've cleared all this place to make sure there's no weapons and stuff, right? That when they're done, they blow it up, and I'm like, no, you're gonna tell me, they'll come back and put more explosives?
No, I will tell you why. You can also say, first of all, there are a lot of corridors that were created in Gaza. It's basically flattening like a big route. So there will be a place for the IDF in the middle of the corridor and enough space to not be attacked. So I understand that it's like goes in the way of buildings, but this is a war that this is the only way to fight it. And I think that all the blame that people have on Gaza, at the end, there is a reason that it's happening, and it's not because of the IDF. For example, if you now buy, like an example, build an illegal building, like without permission, yada, 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 and then comes the city and destroys it. And like, oh my God, they're destroying my home. Like, there is context. And the fact that you build illegally, or the fact that you created like 350 kilometers of tunnels, 140 kilometer stretch of strip with entrances to homes and must, that is the reason. And when you put IEDs everywhere, now like for example the tunnel under the European hospital, in order not to destroy the hospital, the IDF had to fill the entire thing with concrete, the entire tunnel, which is like I don't know how many tons of liters or whatever. But we cannot fill the entire Gaza with concrete. And also, I don't think the population would want, like, if you would fill the entire tunnels with concrete, you cannot kill your future, like, growth there. They destroyed Gaza. You need to, like, really, like, you guys, the plural, you need to blame the Hamas or the Palestinians or the world even.
I'll criticize.
That whenever we say something, because it's coming from Israel, so it's propaganda, and no, Hamas are not using, like, I would, if you would go with me to a room and I would say that Hamas is using human shells, they would debate with me. No, show me proof, show me evidence, like as if it's not Brazilian. No, I don't care about those idiots.
It's not that, it's just, you get, like, Hamas does in a way do that, but you guys do it to the Palestinians too. And in my view on
that, what? Do tunnels? We do tunnels for them?
No, human shields. But my critique, my issue. Well, I'll get into it in a second. I'll show you in a second. But
the guy with the cow? The guy with the cow?
Just a second. What I'm saying is, fuck, man. I'm not holding you to the standards that I'm holding Hamas to, which I agree with you, does stupid ass shit, and I have my criticism. But the shit I've seen the IDF do in the way that they've carried out this war, there is a better way, and it's some of the shit I've seen is despicable, man. Like, genuinely despicable.
Without context.
I'm not just one of those people who retweets and keeps scrolling.
No, like if you're talking about a soldier, that blew up a building, that is not like a soldier doing whatever they want. No, you know what a big operation it is to blow up a building, and how many different units are involved, and how many approvals it needs to go. And then he presented on TikTok like, he's enjoying and blowing up a building. It doesn't work like this. The despicable thing that the stupid soldiers do is those stupid things that they do with the lingerie, okay? That they take the lingerie and they'll do those photos. Not professional, not like, I don't know, like despicable, whatever you want to say. But the blowing up a building, you're just missing out the context. And I don't have the context, but I just know that it's not like a guy decides to blow up a building, like take his gun and like shoot the building.
I'm just saying, Daniel, the whole thing, I'm sure you could justify everything you guys did. But just because you can justify something that's horrible, I don't think you should do it. Because I don't care what you say, I think reputation does matter and action does matter. And that's why people even come online and talk about this stuff. They want to,
no, that is not true.
Preserve something to help people understand certain things. But wait, one sec. My issue is that we're watching horrible things being done, and we all know there's a better way. And the level of brutality is the issue here. Like, you have to understand, we're looking at.
I know what you're looking at. You are being fed this. There's a reason why you are overwhelmed with those images. Dude, like, I know
I'm trying to be able to speak, man. I just want to make my point, and then you can respond. But I'm saying that you're looking at this from the perspective of the Israeli, and I try to look at this in your perspective, my perspective, the American perspective, who's not any beef in this fight, but just watching. And I can tell you, like, the way that it's conducted makes it look like this brutal superpower is just relentlessly brutalizing 2 million people in Gaza, which is a 20-mile block.
I got the point.
That's the.
Yeah, I know. Listen, dude, believe me, I'm more aware than you about the image that is being presented and the skewed image that is usually lacking context, and it's meant to evoke emotion. This is the war that Hamas is fighting with their propaganda arms, huge propaganda arms like Al Jazeera and others. And Al Jazeera would say something, and then groups like Amnesty and HRW, or like some like the Albanese from the UN will jump on it, will echo it, and it becomes facts, which is complete nonsense. You've seen horrible things. This is the first war that is being fed to you, but it's not the only war that is happening. Okay? You can also see some of like compare it to other wars and the reactions of people, and you will see that it's a lot of it is manufactured in order to evoke emotion. So no, image do not matter as much as facts on the ground. And I will tell you also, image is not more important than actually being alive. And you say like, it's not a good thing. Compared to what? What is the alternative? Because the alternative for us is them doing exactly what they have been working out to do from all over. Like, what the fuck do you think Hezbollah is? And Hamas and the Houthis with their slogan, death to America, death to Israel, the curse on the Jews. Like Iran saying, like, we'll wipe out. Like, dude, read the fucking room. We are not hallucinating. They are saying it, and if you speak Arabic, you can hear it even in the original language, as they say. Like, go and stab a Jew. We are fighting an existential threat here. Not more than that. This Hamas and PAJ and all those said that they will do this genocidal again and again and again and again and again and again. They provoked it in order to get those images, in order to harm Israel. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is why they are sacrificing the people. It's not, you fell for it. You fell for it because you, instead of saying Israel did it because they are just, like it's justified, it's moral, it's humane, it's legal to go and get your arms with your friends. You fell for it, but you are blaming Israel. You are the useful idiot, not us. We are doing the right thing. They are threatened. They did it. They still.
I didn't call you.
I didn't call you idiot. Useful idiot is a general term that's said that you are used without knowing.
Yeah,
okay?
it's a term used by
manipulated with emotions.
You still call me an idiot, but I'm just saying.
No, but it's just.
Okay, my God. Listen, you're just
don't
like.
Don't be so sensitive. It's just like
I'm not
saying that.
Google it. Google it. I didn't call you an idiot, man.
Yeah,
I'm saying that you fell for it, not us. The trick that Hamas said to exploit people with the humanitarian sentiment, you fell for it, my friend.
It's not.
You are the one here blaming us. You are here blaming us, and blaming us is basically exactly what they wanted, to vilify us, to demonize us, to ostracize us, and it's good for the cause. Let's be honest, all those deaths are good for the Palestinian cause, because Israel bad, big Israel bad, but it's not true. And you know what? The world actually can see it in Iran and how accurate and how delicate when it's not the same, when they're not using terror tactics, when the population is, when nowadays, like all this commotion, the population is uprising against the regime, not against us. In Gaza, it's not the same. You need to acknowledge the reality of what is happening in Gaza in the last 8 years, at least. This indoctrination.
Because I want to respond to it.
I finished.
So, number one, Hamas, I mean, if you want to say, the population in Iran versus the population in Gaza, Iran hates their regime, and they've shown us this. Population in Gaza has had a lot of different protests against Hamas for different reasons. And there's probably been more opposition there in real ways than there has been in Iran. But aside from that, doesn't mean they like Israel or think Israel's going to save it from Hamas. And I forgot what the fuck you're even saying.
I wasn't paying attention either.
I remember now. The part where you said, I fell for it. Hamas didn't want you to necessarily. They didn't want their propaganda is, like you said, more misinformation shit, right? What you fell for, what Israel fell for, was they wanted Israel to crash out, I guess, right? They wanted Israel to act emotionally rather than strategically. And less surgical and less clever, because we've seen what Israel can do when it wants to be the IDF, the Mossad.
Hold on
The
there.
most clever operations I've ever seen.
In what case have you seen Israel acting emotionally? It's just to expand the point you just made.
I'm trying to just keep it to the thing real quick. I'll land shortly. I'm not going to talk long. But I've seen how clever they can be.
If you want to talk about emotional, you need to put emotion in your voice.
What? Oh, because I'm monotone. No, just
Come on,
land.
that's a
I'm not
stupid
going to talk.
comment.
Basically, I've seen how clever and surgical and impressive their capabilities are and what they can do and how they can operate. And you can't convince me what you guys did in Gaza was any of that. And I think they succeeded in making you, kind of press the red button, not just on Hamas or all of Gaza. But on the proxies too, which some of it ended up
responded with
pretty well, man. Listen, you guys got to consider, I'm one person with my view on this.
Exactly.
Whichever way we would have responded.
You said a lot of things too, Daniel. You said a lot of
The
things.
dumbest profiles, bro. I'm gonna keep kicking you until you fucking have like some kind of profile that works.
Whichever way we would
I don't know why you choose these horribly ugly fucking photos. Do something useful.
We would have been questioned. If we'd done it surgically, we would have been questioned. If we'd done it emotionally, we would have been questioned. Whatever we would have done, we would have been questioned. So it makes no difference.
But this is why Daniel was telling you, saying that it's not safe with Iran, and this is the reason also why I was telling you why it has been so difficult with Gaza, and I think that you agree with that view. And yes, we might agree that it's horrible to see Gaza destroyed and that it's gonna take a emotional toll, whatever, on the people. But this is gonna reconstruct at some point. I know it's not like the perfect answer, but in the end, Hamas is a very difficult target to hit, dude. And I know that you can appreciate that.
I can, but also I saw what they did to Hezbollah and how they took those guys out. Like, although I do criticize that attack as a terrorist attack, it was a lot better than just going and bombing a whole bunch of whatever buildings.
But it was never.
Hold on. I'm trying to reply to him. Hold on, Pikachu. The operation that we now see has been in the making for like 20 years, okay, that we see in Iran. The planning was they had a date and then it was pushed and there were meetings. It's nothing compared to a genocidal surprise attack on 7th of October, okay? Second, the information that we have in Iran is significant also because we are there for 2 decades and because there are many, many people there inside that are helping us. Not the same in Gaza, okay? The people operation also, it's something that was prepared in advance for this day, okay? And it's just one thing that we were able to pull off that with the Mossad, the rest was with military force. Third is that when we target the people in Iran, they were in their homes, in buildings, like normal people, or like in their military bases, or in their like government buildings, not hiding underneath in tunnels. They fucking wear uniforms. We see their like airports. We see their like bases. So if you want to make a comparison for yourself, you cannot just take like one film in a huge table and say, okay, here they were precise, here they were not, so they can do it. For yourself, you need to put like more things into this equation. Like context matter. And you cannot taking things out of context. My friend, you are just manipulating yourself. You're proving yourself a point when you're saying, I'm just ignoring everything else and I'm focusing only on this, and this enough proves to me something. You cannot do this.
You gotta understand, like, the whole, like you said, it's different, right? And I agree, Iran and Gaza are different. But in some cases, Hezbollah and Gaza are similar. You say, they're not wearing military uniforms in Gaza. Hezbollah's not doing that. And, they're hiding weapons in houses. Hezbollah's also doing that, and so is Hamas. And, they're hiding in tunnels. Hezbollah's doing that. There's just some. I just know like the way Israeli security intelligence and how thorough it is that if you wanted to pull off an extremely surgical operation to cut the heads off of Hamas and do this, that, and the other in Gaza, you would have been able to do it. And they probably had similar clandestine operations to the pager attack on Hamas members, right?
So you think we just chose not to use it for like 18 months, looking for Sinwar like by foot? We just chose not to do this.
There are.
And also, if you take the heads of the Hamas, if you take the head of the Hamas, it doesn't topple the organization. It doesn't, like, they will just replace it with another one. It's really not the same. And also with Lebanon and the tunnels, it's not the same infrastructure. It's in Gaza. Like the complete city has this underground Gaza underground. It's not the same with that kind of carving in a mountain and hiding there. And yes, in Lebanon also some houses were destroyed.
But also you need to take into context every single situation, right? It's on a one-on-one basis. I get what you're saying, Jack, and I think that you're trying to make the case of like, okay, if Israel is so surgical and they have proven that they're so surgical, why weren't they able to make the same thing in Gaza? And I get your point, but you also are missing context here because so the thing with Gaza, even though it was like in the making for a lot of years, the whole temperature, heating, was for a lot of years and decades, and the conflict is for decades. These wars started on the 7th of October. And in this case, in the case of Gaza, I mean, when you compare it to Iran has been 20 years in the making, the operation. In Hezbollah, it was 9 years in the making. In Gaza was reactionary. So Gaza, Palestinians and Hamas broke into Israel, took the lives of like 1,500 people, took like 400, 500 hostages. There is no in the making and planning. Everything is more emergency, right? I mean, like your ability to actually plan for something is non-existent, not even limited. It's just non-existent. So you need to act with what you have. And what they had in that moment was exactly that. It's like, okay, where are the Hamas headquarters? Who are the Hamas people, the militants? Let's get our hostages back. Let's bring down Hamas. Let's restore control in Israel. So it was a lot to deal with in a very short time. Now, you're saying Israel has not been surgical in Hamas. If you, let's try to, my niece is currently learning math, and I am remembering a lot of things now. So, for example, when you do a division, they make her do something that it's called like the proof. So you do the division, and then you have to prove that it's right by making the multiplication. So let's try to prove the point that they are not being surgical by doing the opposite. So if they were not surgical, don't you think that the war would have already been over, I don't know, in 2 months? Why do you think that it has taken them 2 whole years, 2.5 years of dragging this shit to get the hostages back, to bring Hamas down? Do you think it's because they are incompetent? I don't think the IDF is incompetent. Or do you think it's because they actually want to do as little harm as they can, and they are actually being surgical?
I think that they want their hostages back, and they want to make sure Hamas won't exist in the way that it did before October 7th. And also, they probably want to eventually take some of the land in Gaza, maybe a quarter of it in the north, for what they call security purposes. I don't think they have a plan for the day after, and I don't agree it was surgical. I'm just going. I'm probably not going to convince you, so we can just agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not trying to convince you. I just want you to understand the way that we see things. You don't have to agree. you just have to say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. In the same way, when I talk to flat earthers, I'm not looking to be convinced, but I want to understand where they're coming from and why do they believe what they believe. And this is what we're trying to explain to you.
Yeah,
Just to see
I'm
that
trying
you
to
have
gain your
clarity on where they
as well. Also, but I wanted to bring up, like you said, they had a short amount of time to deal with Hamas, but I don't agree with that. I think they had like 20 years, and they bring this up all the time, the Hamas charter, and although it did change in like 2017, they never stopped being the group that wanted to take over Israel from the river to the sea. They never.
Yeah, but the difference is, Jack, the difference is that the Israeli public and even the Israeli government, like, my sense is that they were lulled into a false idea that Hamas actually didn't have the capabilities to do something like this. It was every couple of years, they're going to fire rockets every couple of years. They'll go in, bomb some rocket launcher sites, and that'll be it for another 2 years. Nobody thought Hamas had the capabilities of this, right? Everyone got fooled. So again, the whole situation is so different. Urban warfare versus right? There's no Israeli soldiers on the ground in Iran. There's Mossad, but there's not foot soldiers. It's not infantry, right? The way to handle an urban warfare is very different than when you can bomb from the air. All of those things. And another thing I'll just mention, the way that Gaza plays politically in the Israeli public and the way that Iran functions in society in the Israeli public is very different. Very different relationships to those two ideas. Right? For 40 years, Israel and the West has been trying to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. 40 years.
Real quick, Caleb, like on the idea, maybe I'll give you this. Maybe they were, the Israeli intelligence community was being a bit reckless, or I don't think they were under, and I think they knew that there was this kind of styled attack in the making, and they had intelligence, the Shin Bet had intelligence, the Mossad had it. Maybe they didn't think that intelligence was serious enough, or that it was an immediate threat, but they knew.
They thought that they were deterred.
Just a second, man. I've read enough about like certain articles about how there were prior warnings, not even just like the day before or anything, but months and a year before, and there was a lot of signals that the Mossad and the Shin Bet had about this style attack being in the works. But my other point is, like, I'm pretty sure there might be elements of people in Israeli society or even the government that maybe got comfortable with the Hamas there, or didn't, thought they were neutered, or, they had been deterred. But I don't think anyone in those Mossad ranks or Shin Bet ranks were less threatened by Hamas, and I'm pretty sure people in Mossad had already had plans over the last 20 years to do something to that group if they needed to at some point in the future, like they did with Hezbollah. I don't know exactly what, but I just know
it wasn't.
I don't think this goes.
I don't think that's right.
Intelligence, dude.
I mean, look, the security failure of October 7th will run, first of all, out and will run deep, right? So if what you're saying is right, my question is like, so who ignored the Mossad? And why did they ignore it? Right? If what you're saying is right, and I think on this point, we have to say, Bibi Netanyahu. We have to talk about, right? We have to talk about all of that stuff about him keeping himself in power and his trial and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and all of these alliances and things like that, and how that functions and works with Hamas. It's a political, right? That's a major, major factor, probably to why. God, my dog is being such a bitch right now. Do you know what I'm saying, Jack? Like nobody in Israel disagrees that we should have taken out the nuclear sites in Iraq. Nobody.
Oh, I know that.
Do you think we will ever know exactly what happened on 7th of October? Because that is something that is bothering my stomach since it happened. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't even want to imply that Israel planned this, of course, but it's just annoying to believe that the best army in the world, I mean, this fence where no cat could get close without the alarms going off, you know, that actually was broken into. So do you think that we will ever know, like, exactly what happened on the 7th of October and who is responsible for that?
We will know, but I think that's what people maybe don't understand. It's not like a guy at the fence. It's an operation that part of it was the overwhelming, okay, which is also what Iran wanted to do. Because, you know, we have the Iron Dome, but you can pass the Iron Dome if you overwhelm it with 1,000 rockets. So when thousands of thousands go inside in different locations in the fence and sending drones to the first attack that they did is basically on the defense, meaning on the eyes and ears. They blocked they kind of bombed with drones the eyes, the cameras and stuff like this. And then, you know, they started attacking from different locations. And this is how it started basically. And there are now investigations for each location separately about everything that has happened after the attack. And then they will do also investigation internally of the information. But at the end, in intelligence, yes, there are signals, but you don't always react on signals because sometimes signals are meant to see how you would react. So if, for example, you would, I don't know, they would kind of go all to one place and then react, then they would know that we see that, for example. So you don't always act on signals. And the thought was the third.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to actually, I would love for all of that to come to light, you know, because, and if there were people responsible, they should be punished, you know, even if that was, I don't know, Netanyahu's responsibility, you know, there needs to be people responsible for what happened.
It's not always about punishment because sometimes it's not someone that did something that he was supposed to, but you do learn from it. And this is why we do the investigation, not in order to go and hang someone and find, okay, we now know who to blame. That is not the point. The point that we want to do is to see how we can improve from it, what did we miss, what enough. I think it basically is more about thought process, how you conceive Hamas, or how do you understand the connections or abilities, or even import of weapons, or stuff like this. So they will understand how they got things wrong, but I think it's more systematic than finding one person. It's too decentralized to be one.
Yeah, it was a chain of events rather than just the fault of one person.
But yeah, to learn from it, to every time that something happens, even now in Gaza, every time that the soldiers die, it's immediately an investigation, what was done in the procedures, how did you approach the house, what things did you do before, did you send first a dog and then a drone inside to look, and then they can see what in the procedure was not on, so it will not happen again.
For the same reason, I have trouble, believing that it could have been planned because it is so decentralized and it would depend on so many people that you would have needed that all of the idea would have to agree that there is a breach and that there will be all of these people, hundreds of people killed, right? I mean, it would have to be too many complicit people and there's no way that you would get all of these Israelis to agree.
In an organization basically of people sacrificing their life, it's all about brotherhood. You cannot go inside. It's not about money. We're not a professional army that anyone can just sign in and
this is the livelihood of the people. Every single person is in the IDF, right?
And also with people saying Netanyahu decided, also Netanyahu is not he's not a dictator that can make all decisions. Yes. Like, he said that there are nuclear bombs in Iran and he sent the army. Like, he's not an Ayatollah. Like, no one would go if the Air Force, like, at the end, it goes to intelligence, they need to find the site, they need to find, like, what ammunition. Like, there's a lot of, like, stuff going on, except, like, he says, like, go bomb Iran, they have nuclear weapons. Like, it's so stupid. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's. I mean, like, I would really like. I think that you guys can do a movie. The failures of the IDF on the 7th of October to see what went wrong. But I would definitely love to see a documentary or something about it. Because it's very interesting.
I want to see a movie about Rising Lion, about the operation, the beginning of the operation in Iran, like the first night, how it happened. And on the Beatles, like how it was planned, how it happened.
That would be amazing.
But also, like, the story. I mean, also the story of the entire Mossad in the IGC and having like a base of drones and starting the attack where the drones are attacking the defense system and planes coming with refueling from after we carved the way through Syria because Assad fled. It's such a domino effect. And Iran is part of the China, Russia, North Korea kind of ally, which a lot of Americans also don't see, that there is an alliance between those, like this axis of countries. And when one of them falls, it weakens the axis.
There's
good for America. Mossad is a bit too public. I don't like it so much.
Yeah.
I like it when you never knew if it was Mossad or you didn't know if it was Mossad. It's like,
they're speaking too much.
it's more like a mindfuck. Like, how did it happen? Like, how like the reactor fail? Like, well, we're like, who did it? Like, I don't know. Maybe it was us.
Yeah, but those guys are ridiculously intelligent. Like, it's amazing, the minds of those. I mean, you have to be fucked up in the head as well. You have to be evil in order to think like evil, right? I mean, this is
it's a lot of projection. Listen,
yeah, exactly.
It's all of this, also this that they say that we like imperialist and greater Israel. Now, the thing is that with this entire greater Israel, like in Judaism, for example, we cannot force convert people. Okay, this is something that Muslim can do, or even Christian can do. So let's say we take over the entire Middle East. And then what? We are like, I don't know, 7 million Jews spread out in the entire Middle East, like ruling over those Muslims because we will not convert them. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it's just, I don't see how it can happen. Even if we wanted, we cannot keep such a land. We're not enough people.
Yeah, but that's just logistics, Daniel. It can be fixed.
Yeah? Like, why? Like, but that's the thing, but why would we do it? To control them? Like, what would we get out of it? Like, it's not, I don't know, it's weird.
Security.
The what? Why?
You'll get more safety and security. But
like, do you think, like, let's say, we'll put like, I don't know, a Jewish prime minister in, I don't know, in Syria, around him, all of them are like Muslims, some of them jihadists, and like, I tell you now to do this. Like, fuck you, bitch.
What's actually kind of ironic is the fact that you guys don't convert people, or let's say you don't bring those people you conquered into your fold. It's almost worse.
Worse?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, this is the mentality of a colonizer, right? This is just ridiculous.
Okay, maybe
why not be pluralistic? Why not be pluralistic? Okay.
Dogs.
Okay. How would you feel? Ready? All right. Let's say this unnamed empire comes to your land and conquers you, and they say, this is our land now, we're going to be this is part of our empire. You will have protection from this empire, and you will be one of its people now.
Well,
to say, no, this is my land or whatever, but they come in, they're strong enough to just take it. You're better off than if they just leave you like as a, you know, empireless, unprotected person.
That's not the way empire. That's not the way empire works. At least not in antiquity. That's not the way empire works. The way empire works.
But he's doing a good experiment. Let him cook.
Yeah, it's the way that empire controls minority cultures is to separate them and divide them, not to create pluralistic societies, right? Empires don't want to create pluralistic societies. They want to create monolithic societies.
Just saying, it's better, like, I'd rather be a second-class citizen than not a citizen of the empire, you know?
Do you know anything about Jewish history? Do you understand how long we lived as no citizenship in all of those places? Do you understand that? We understand really well what it means. Because your thought experiment is actually proved out by history.
Yeah, okay, so wouldn't you rather be part of an empire that makes you... I mean...
Why would the empire conquer the land? I guess I don't understand the scenario, right? The empire comes and conquers us and conquers the land and then just says, you're on your own?
No, but it's an empire. Look at the UK, for example. I mean, they had colonies everywhere. They were spreading their values and their thoughts and their costumes and all of this, right? And they allowed them to have autonomy, but they had, they ruled those places.
Yeah, and also
they did well.
It's better to be someone, even if it's a second class, better than no class. Like, if I was living under an empire, but, you know, once in a while, random people from outside the empire can come and just raid my village and kill me without any repercussion because the empire that controls my land doesn't care because it's me. That's worse than, you know, having some protection from it.
So then I never want to hear you critique again the condition of Israeli Palestinians.
Don't be authoritarian, Caleb.
Well,
no, I'm just saying. Do you understand my point? In other words,
no,
okay,
it's better.
It's better
than not, right? But it doesn't mean it's ideal, right? Like, a second class is better than, or first class is better than second class.
We have
second
a
class
saying.
Is better than nothing.
We have a saying in Spanish that says it's better to be the tail of the lion than the head of a mouse. I don't know if it makes too much sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so then, Jack, it would be better. So no two-state solution. Let's just conquer the entire land and have the Palestinians be second-class citizens. How do you think about that? What do you think?
Wait, sorry, say that again. No two-state solution.
Okay, it's better to be a first-class citizen, right? But in the absence of that, better to be a second-class citizen. So let's have Israel just annex everything and keep the Palestinians as second-class citizens. That would be better than what they have now, isn't it?
Dude, it would be
100%, and a lot of Palestinians agree with that. A lot of Palestinians agree with that, but a lot of them also want to kill the Jews.
Well, the thing is, too, like, you don't even have to give these people voting rights in terms of Knesset. You can give them local voting rights. Okay, maybe a mayor, you know, the person who might
Puerto Rico.
have some
Just like Puerto
representation
Rico,
there.
the
But,
US.
yeah, I mean, that's way better than the status quo today. And everyone thinks
you sound like a radical right-wing Zionist, Jeff.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's how bad it is.
Sold out our farm. We're working on him.
Listen, the solution that's, at this point, it's like really just whatever, in my eyes, the Israelis can dictate a lot. They can dictate whether they want to annex, whether they don't want to, whether they want to stay here in the West Bank, whether they don't want to. And everything points in the direction of
with just all kinds of crazy information make it harder to figure out what's real.
To me, I'm just thinking long term.
That seems to be
it's not sustainable to just keep a sizable population like that. In the city as well.
That's true.
They should have some rights, like, from the state.
Well, I think that's true, and also I think you're a little bit giving into
effectively, like
such a
everybody
great phrase, using our rights and sort of to the bigotry of all expectations.
Everybody's trying to be like a journalist.
Like,
a news
yes, there should be
person,
things granted from these rights, and there should be
journalistic integrity.
behaviors and
Don't want to do
initiatives
any
within
research.
Palestinian
So
society
they'll
to
have
prepare
on
themselves
anybody, and then you'll
right,
be able to say,
for
I
some
just
other
like to
different
have
future.
on everybody.
And
I
if,
want
right,
to
and
hear
if you say, oh,
everybody's
occupation,
opinion.
I
I
can't
want to
do
leave
it,
it up to
right?
the audience.
Well, then you're just giving up all control. You're saying Palestinians are stupid. You're saying they don't have capacity.
And just
I know you don't believe
anybody up and say, yeah, go right ahead.
No, I'm saying they're up against the superpower, and they have the room to negotiate any terms in their favor. All their worth in this conflict is literally their body numbers on the ground.
All they have to do is say no more violence, and then they get leverage.
But also right now, it is kind of like perfect. No person, you're not gonna do this shit all the time, dude. You spend 2 seconds in the room, you're not gonna interrupt. You need to control your fucking nervous system. You drive me crazy, and you make my nervous system go like crazy. So anyway, like right now is the perfect soil, for this to happen, because Palestinians have been bent over so much right now that, as Jack says, they're willing to take whatever at this point, right? So right now is the perfect moment to like say, okay, they're gonna take whatever it is, so let's give them, the state or whatever and the protection, but let's treat them well, but let's make them part of our country, and they will be well behaved if they see that they are going to be better off, under Israeli control, with houses and healthcare infrastructure and internet and access to an airport and ports and everything else, that they can have a normal life versus having their whole Gaza destroyed.
It's better than the status quo. 100 times better.
Yeah, but the status quo could change for the worse, right? I agree with you. There's only two things: change the status quo or not change the status quo. But if you change the status quo, you could get the new Ben Gvir status quo, and that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be good for Palestinians either.
But the status
right?
quo
So,
is because of Israel.
Your mic is so low, Simon. It's really hard to hear you.
The status quo is not because of Israel.
Sure it is.
Simon, can you not talk so loud in my ear, please?
Yeah, no, I mean, the reality is that this all stems from Palestinians' values. Like, the reason that they're in the mess that they are in is because of themselves.
It's astounding to me that even... I appreciate that you said it. You said it well, as you usually do. But it's astounding to me that continues to need to be said.
Yeah, but
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that statement either.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. We all did this together.
Well, I think...
No, we did this together, Simon.
I agree with you both. Can't I agree with both? I think the Palestinian...
They're in controvertible positions.
Yeah, he's blaming one side, and Caleb's saying, well, both sides have their own.
Well,
we did it together.
I think we did.
What did Israel do?
Well, Israel, Simon, your mic is so hard to hear.
Simon, you gotta stop shouting, Simon. Look, I think that both can be true. The way that I see Caleb is true is that both Israel and Palestine contributed. The way that I see Simon is true is to say that the Palestinian perspective is a problem.
I just need to say this. When Simon speaks, you all need to shut the fuck up, because at this time of night, if he yells, which is why he mumbles like this, if he yells, he's gonna get a divorce. So that's the reason why he can't, because his girlfriend's gonna kick him out.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough.